that question ahead, Sajjan, since you're also doing your extensive survey in Bihar. How is the youth constituency placed? Because in this manifesto of the NDA, there are a lot of announcements for the youth, and of course the 1 crore job is being announced as well. That is different from 2.5 crores that has been announced by Tejashwi Yadav, who says that will be a government job. This time they are talking about employment. They're not only focusing on government jobs. So there is that clear distinction being made by the NDA here.
Yes, Maria, see, the youths on ground
Sajjan.
are divided into different segments, right? Youths are not in vacuum. Youths are negotiated via their caste, via their gender, and via their family sensibilities also. Now, in this backdrop, you find that already when you interact with the youths, overwhelmingly male youths will be looking at caste, community, some sort of promise to the jobs, and also a bit of leadership. So you will find appreciation for Tejashwi there, not just among his core supporters, but also someone beyond that. So that sort of differentiation with regard to Tejashwi is there. This is one. But two, you will also find seemingly same set of youths belonging to different community will be wary of Tejashwi, because Tejashwi's core support base also start creating noise. The moment you find hype Tejashwi, as happened in 2020, this time you also see.
But are you seeing that noise this time? Or are you hearing that noise this time? We heard a lot of that in 2020, yes. But what about now?
So there is no state pattern, but you find constituency to constituency and different. So male youths are scattered. What I'm trying to say, that you find that male youths are also behaving via their caste,
but
also
Sajjan,
behaving
what's
in terms
the
of the leadership.
The same people, right? But the same voters who supported, which is the young Yadav vote bank, which supported, make your point.
Yeah. So when you go to the, when we talk about the women factor, you have to take into account that half of the youths come from the women segments, and therein you find that the major traction more than caste, I'm not saying that caste is not there, but along with caste also is the presence of the schemes. And therein Nitish Kumar scores at least a small section, I'm not saying more, but around maybe Amitabh Tiwari would be able to tell, but at least say 5% or 7% of the female youths, even among the core constituency of RJD, are more considerate of the schemes that is there. So youths are scattered. They are a constituency, but they are mediating via their other identities, right? And among the women, which includes substantial number of the youths, you find Nitish Kumar being the prime anchor. That is there. You talk to the male youths, you see about leadership, you see about someone who should be fresh, someone who should be from the caste, someone who should be from the other sensibilities of fatigue. That sort of a fatigue you find less among the women voter, which includes the youth. That's my point, Riti.
All right, I just want to bring in Amitabh Tiwari, Maria, for just once here, because Amitabh Tiwari, let's pose that question to you, because the landscape this election is very, very different than what it was in 2020, especially where the youth vote is concerned. There is a fair amount of unrest where, and not that it wasn't there the last time, issues like migration, issues like Palayan, which at one point of time were accepted, this time are part of mainstream political conversation where political parties are actually, speaking about it and endeavoring to solve it, or at least trying to give their, point forward. How do you see the youth get fragmented? Because what at least, some of us have seen when we've been on ground, and I'll just give you my example. While you do have a strong Yadav-based vote bank where Tejashwi is concerned with the youth, Tejashwi is not able to add more, is what I feel, over that, dyed-in-wool, staunchly Yadav, youth who is behind Tejashwi, where no matter what, they will vote the Lalten. But having said that, the upper caste vote where the youth is concerned, a lot of them that I've spoken to, or even, some of the Kushwaha community, are fairly attracted to the concept of Prashant Kishore. And we don't know whether that vote will shift, but they're being very vocal about it. This was something, if there was anti-incumbency, if there was the promise of youth, this vote should have been taken by Tejashwi.
No, see, youth again, youth is just one identity, correct? A youth is a Hindu or a Muslim, an upper caste, Dalit or a OBC, a male or a female. So, I mean, there are six identities, which, I mean, just here itself. So, there are multiple identities of the youth also. So, when the youth go
Yes.
out to vote, are they going to vote as youth? Or they are voting on a religious line, or they are voting on caste lines or socio-economic class? That becomes important. Having said that, if you see the popularity of the leaders or the popularity of the alliances amongst 18 to 24 year age group, MGB is number one, NDA is number two, and number three is Jansuraj party. So you can say roughly it is 40, 30, 20 in terms of popularity
Okay.
amongst the youth. So the youth vote is getting split or also attracted towards Prashant Kishore or Jansuraj, because he has largely talked about unemployment migration and is also targeted the educational status of Tejashwi Yadav. So that also has some impact on the youth. How much this will translate into votes, it is very, very difficult to say. Amongst males, as Sajjan ji pointed out, the lead would be more for Mahagathbandhan. Amongst females, it will largely be inversely true. But if you see the manifesto, I think some
Absolutely.
we were, we
Sajjan, and
we were
yes,
speaking
please go
about
ahead.
the manifesto, I think. See, for incumbent governments, manifesto does not make any difference. It is largely the track record of performance, which is the schemes which they have already delivered. For opposition parties, the manifesto is important because they are not in power and they are presenting their vision. So whatever has been announced in manifesto may not have that impact compared to already the schemes which are implemented, largely the cash handouts. They will have a larger role rather than manifesto which has been released today.
All right, Amitabh and Sajjan, thank you for joining us. We'll continue to keep coming to you during the course of the next few days as the battle for Bihar enters the slog overs. Let me try and wrap up this show with the final words from Aishwarya and Preeti. Aishwarya, 7 days to go. How are the cards stacked up?
You know, I think now is when we will see the actual campaign begin, and I'm still telling you, and this is something which I feel that maybe the real election of Bihar will begin after the 14th of November. You know, this is the place where the manifesto launch of the NDA happened, and here, some of the top leaders, they are speaking this, that, you know, just wait for the 14th of November. So there are chances that we could see a lot of changes after 14th of November.